I mean, I've given up on dating.
I mean, that's a shame. That's a shame. I understand it. I completely understand it, but that is a shame. The only and I'll share this little success story. Yeah, I think I can share this. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the YouTuber Thorben. He is a Car 3 OG, one of the founding members of the Car 3 SMP. So in college, he was very, very much like, I want to have a relationship, and kind of like talking with the boys about it a lot, like as the boys would hang out and have our get-togethers and parties or whatever. That is something that would often come up. And he would always be asking for relationship advice from all of the guys. There's one thing that I would constantly tell him. I think I said something to the effect of 99% of gamblers quit just before they're about to win, which is 100% true. If you decide to give up on dating, the only thing that it does is it guarantees that you will be alone forever, right? If you continue to try, there is a possibility that you do find someone.
At the Angry Canadian 1109 said in the chat, was he a crazy crackhead like me?
No, he actually had himself together a lot more than you do, to be honest. But he was in a very similar situation when it comes to dating. Right? He was like, I really want to be in a relationship. It just kind of was like waiting for a relationship to happen, trying to make things work. It's not working. But everyone in the group encouraged him to continue to try dating. He hopped on Upward, Christian dating app, before too long, found his first girlfriend, and then got married. And I ended up being the best man at his wedding. So I think the dating scene can be discouraging, but don't let that keep you from engaging with it. I think if you're someone who can keep your sexual impulses in check, you are, and especially if you're a moderate or a liberal, you are already probably ahead of like at least 60 to 70% of men in the dating pool. Because
at the Angry Canadian 1109 said in the chat,
I refuse to go in.
I refuse to go on dating apps.
Refuse to go on dating. Well, that's good. That's good. Well, where are you looking? Where are you looking for a wife then? Now I'm curious, because the two spheres of looking for a relationship that I'm most familiar with are dating apps, and then like Christian social circles, primarily church. But I'm curious as to where you are, where you're looking for a wife, because there are dynamics about, like, I don't know, trying to pick up a girl at a bar, for example, that I just don't know the ins and outs of. Not familiar with that whole game.
At the Angry Canadian 1109 said in the chat, nowhere, I retired since August.
No, but like where? Hold on. Am I asking this question in a way that is understandable? Okay, let me put it like this. When you're looking for a wife, what do you do? Let me put it that way. When you look for a wife, what do you do? Oh, wait, you said nowhere, I retired in August. Okay. Well, I think that's your biggest mistake. I think you're single because you stopped trying. I think that's a big part of it. I will say that, dating markets are very different depending on where you are. So, for example, I have sort of had to come to terms with fairly recently, where it's like the political gender gap where I'm at is probably a bit wider than it was over at, like, say, like Cedarville University, which is the Christian college I went to, middle of nowhere, where there are a whole lot of Christian ladies there who are, moderate to conservative. Just like the culture there was conservative, so many of the women were. I had never tried dating apps at the time, but now in the apps, it is impossible to find someone who's conservative or moderate. I've actually you know what? Scratch that. Not impossible. I've come across some Africans who are like conservative, but then again, like some of them are like South African and they were like racist against white people and stuff. But like in general, depending on where you are, especially if it's heavily urbanized, pretty modern, densely populated, at least as far as what I can tell in the United States, it is difficult to find someone if you are conservative. Now, that's why I said if you're a liberal or you are a moderate, you know, you're ahead of a lot of men in the dating space, because there just aren't nearly as many left-wing straight men as there are right-wing straight men. Right, which isn't entirely surprising. Kind of fits with what I've observed. But if you are a moderate or a liberal, and you can keep your sexual urges in check, by that I mean, you know, I think from a secular, if we're speaking from a secular perspective, you know, a lot of women in the dating scene are fine with kind of like sleeping relatively casually, and by that I mean like within a few to several dates before getting to know you pretty well.
If but she has pronouns in her bio, I want none of that. There's no one in the dating pool.
I see all of these horror stories online from women complaining about how sexual men are getting in their initial chats when matching on dating apps. Don't do that. Don't do that. From everything that I'm seeing, you know, and I'm not, you know, promoting premarital sexual activity, by the way, but from whenever I'm seeing, if, you know, I'm giving secular dating advice, never break the ice when it comes to sexual conversations. If you're a man, let the women do that, because a lot of women, they want to make sure that you're not with them just for the sex. Understandable. They want to make sure that you actually like them as a person.
1109 said in the chat, dude, I never did that and I still got banned on Hinge years ago.
Oh, I mean, I completely would believe that you get banned. Maybe you don't understand why. But like, the way that you communicate, I feel like you're the type of person who would get banned from Hinge, even if you didn't actually insult anyone. Like, I think your messages would probably get flagged by people. One thing too, you do have to temper yourself in the dating apps, right? You have to temper yourself a little bit. So anything that you even suspect might be off color or out of bounds, don't bring that up in the dating app at all. Ask for a phone number, text. Don't even say anything sexual in the dating apps. And sometimes those dating apps, like rules, they can be very easy to encroach upon, even on accident.
At the Angry Canadian 1109 said in the chat, I barely got any matches on Hinge.
Interesting. I will say that's never been a problem for me. I've always been able to get matches on Hinge. Now, I will say it's sporadic and it depends on the seasons. So you kind of have to rely on when women are most interested in going to the dating scene, because it ebbs and flows, right? So right now, for example, it's the holiday season. Women are looking for people to women are looking for a man to have around their arm when they're showing off to family for Christmas or whatever. So I'm seeing a lot more activity now in the dating apps.